Well, hello guys, and welcome to a Steven Universe review. In this episode, we will be talking about Gym Glow. Now, if you can't tell what I'm doing here, I've decided to go back and talk about the first two seasons of Steven Universe. Going back and looking at the old episodes, basically giving you my perspective on them. I've decided to do this just because two reasons. One, I do want to give you guys my perspective, where I'm coming from. And two, and more importantly, I want to go back and look at these old episodes to see if there's anything I missed. So that means I will be referring to future episodes. So I'd like to assume you guys are all caught up on the up to the current episode. But if you're not, go do that and then come back, because I will be talking about them, just because there's a lot of things that relate back. But with that being said, let's just get right into this. So again, this episode is Gym Glow. So the episode starts off, Steven's at the Big Donut. He's sad because they've discontinued Cookie Cats, and Steven wants Cookie Cats. Lars is being Lars, let's be honest here. It's an interesting way to start off an episode, which I'm going to be honest with you guys, these first few episodes, this first half of season 1, I'm kind of indifferent on. There are some episodes I like, some episodes I don't like. There's no episode I really hate, but, well, kind of. But this is one of those, even the first episode of the show, I'm indifferent on it. It is their first, I do kind of give them some leeway. It is their first episode. It is their first season. They're still trying to find a groove. But I don't really like this first one. And this scene is just kind of, we'll get into this, but yeah, so Steven's sad about there not being any Cookie Cats, and he takes the Cookie Cat freezer, and then he arrives back at the gym's house, or at his house, right? And I noticed when Garnet broke open the centipedal thing, it has like bone and meat in it. They're gyms. They're based on light. Why are the centipedal babies different? And Pearl says something along the lines of, we think the centipedals are here for the temple, right? They're looking for something in the temple. Later episodes, we know the centipedals are probably looking for Centipedal's crew, because the centipedals are being controlled by a mother centipedal. So they fight off the centipedals. Pearl just snaps one of the centipedals' necks right in front of Steven, and he is not fazed at all by it. Okay. And then he goes into the freezer, and the glow stick. You don't really notice it when the first ever time you watch this episode, but later on down the line, it's a nice little foreshadow. So Steven gets one of the Cookie Cats because he's happy the gym's got them, which brings me to ask another question. How did the gyms know Cookie Cats were being discontinued? Because we know the gyms don't interact with humans, but yet they're still like, oh, we heard they weren't making them anymore, so we went and got you some. How did they know? My only guess is future vision, but even still, that's kind of a very loose guess, if you know what I mean. So Steven does this whole thing where he's really happy. He sings the Cookie Cat song. That's a lot of fun. In the Cookie Cat song, it's like an intergalactic war. He left his family behind. That's foreshadowing if I have ever heard it. It really is. So he eats the Cookie Cat and his gym starts to glow, but he starts to panic and he doesn't know why it was working. It's like, oh, did I do something, right? What did I do to make my gym start to glow? Just right off the bat, we can tell, oh, his powers are based off of his emotions because he's feeling happy, right? This is something that's right off the bat. It's a cliche that's been done before. I don't really mind it though, so I don't have a problem with it. Then we see each one of the gyms tell them about how they summon their weapon. This is something I like, because by having each gym explain how they summon their weapon, we get a good sense of what each character is like. And that's one thing I will give this episode credit on, is it does at least give us an overview of what each of the characters are like. Pearl has this whole thing of being calm, not flow, going with the flow, but like nature, right? Time, effort, work. Amethyst's whole thing is go with the flow. She can just summon her weapon whenever she wants. And then Garnet's whole thing has to do with connecting with all the matter of the universe and bringing it all into your being, which Steven's just completely lost. Right? He doesn't get this, because each gym does it their own different way. So he goes back, he tries to recreate the whole scenario, and he's like, oh, it didn't work, but hey, at least I still got Cookie Cats. And he eats the Cookie Cat and is able to summon his shield. I do want to point out here something. in the recent episode, Bubbled, I was confused on why Gemini had a knife as a weapon, right? Because I always assumed all rubies had a gauntlet as a weapon. But then it kind of brought up the question, does each gem have a weapon specific to them? And I think this episode confirms it. Because what Pearl, after Steven summons his weapon, she's like, oh, Steven, it's a shield. Like, they knew Rose had a shield, but yet they didn't know if Steven was going to have Rose's shield. They didn't know if they thought that Steven was going to have a unique weapon to himself. Well, of course, we know he has Rose's shield because he's just like Rose. But yeah, that's an interesting perspective that we get very early on. So I really liked that. And then his shield goes flying all over the place, crashes into the TV, breaks it. Yeah, that happens. And then the Mother Centipedal shows back up. Which, again, the Mother Centipedal, we now 2 seasons down the line, know her goals. We know why she's here. Which, okay, I will admit, it does make sense. Her being a captain, the reason she can summon little centipedals, I'd assume, is because she is a captain. She starts to attack the crystal gems. Steven tries to use his ice cream powers to stop the centipedal. It doesn't work. So he he throws the broken Cookie Cat fridge at the Mother Centipedal, electrocuting it. The gems pull out their weapons and start to attack the Centipedal. They poof it. Steven buries the Cookie Cat, and that's the end of the episode. Again, for everything I liked, there was stuff I didn't like. It was just I'm indifferent on the episode. I don't hate it, but it's an interesting place to start it is an interesting place to start the show. We barely know anything, but yet we know the characters. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned for the next episode. Until then, peace.